Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Orex Minerals session here at the Red Cloud Oktoberfest Fall Mining Showcase. I am pleased and lucky to have with us the Vice President of the VPX of Orex Minerals, Ben Whiting, who will go through the Orex Minerals story, which is located in the heart of the silver trend in Mexico. So if you want to find a serious silver deposit, this is where you need to look, and Ben's going to tell you about that. So over to you, Ben.
Thank you very much, Seb. Orex has projects in Mexico and Canada. I'm going to concentrate today on the two projects that we have in the north central part of Mexico, the Sandra and Canedo Gold Silver projects. A few forward-looking statements are what we're planning to do and what we see as the settings for these deposits. We always have to put in that qualified statement. Orex is a company that's been around for a few years. We've made some discoveries within Orex, but also within the Belcara group. It takes a team, and we have a very good team to work on these projects. Gary Cope is the president of the company. He and I and others on the team here as well were involved with Orco Silver's discovery in La Preciosa, a silver gold deposit in Durango State, Mexico, which is pertinent to this discussion because some of the projects that we have in Orex today are also in the same geology and same structural type settings as we found the La Preciosa discovery that we made. So I'll just mention that for context. On this list, you'll see that there are several geologists as well as financial people. And Dale Britliff, who's mentioned there as a technical advisor, he's a project leader as well in our group, and he happens to be in Mexico at this moment. Okay. From a share structure viewpoint, this is where we stand. 65% of the shares in Orex are held by institutions, and I include Eric Sprott on that institutional list, even though he is an individual here. But Ingalls and Snyder, U.S. Global, the Contrarian Fund, Eric Sprott, there are quite a few institutions who have looked at us and said that this is an important investment to have. Fresnillo is an investor as well. Fresnillo is the world's largest silver mining company. They have a 3% stake. Management, we always want to be part of the ownership as well so that our interests are aligned. And there is a significant retail component for the changes. I point out that there's $7.5 million in the till, so we can carry on with our exploration projects. And we do have an asset, 2% NSR on the Barsele gold deposit in Sweden, which was part of Orex before it was spun out as a separate entity. It's a joint venture with Agnico Eagle Mining Limited. So within Orex today, two major projects in Mexico are the Sandra project. It's a joint venture with Pan American Silver, and the Canedo project is a joint venture with Fresnillo. Pan American Silver, their chairman, Ross Beatty, spoke earlier today at the Red Cloud conference. Right at and the shape of Durango, Mexico is sometimes referred to as a heart-shaped. We have our projects. But in this belt, there are some giants. Fresnillo being one of the giants in Zacatecas, Guanajuato. La Pitarrilla is in Durango, northern Durango, and its pertinence is that its geology is very similar to Sandra project. But we see the Canedo project and the Sandra project being right in the heart of the silver trend. You can also see the red dot is where La Preciosa is, and the city of Durango is where we have an office. This hillside gives you a look at the area of the Sandra project where we made a discovery. The little green dot in the center of that hillside is our drill rig. So that's the canopy over the drill rig area. And on that hillside, there are 65 drill holes. You can't see them because we take care with our environment and our community to work to make sure that they are recovered as quickly as possible. But that is the location where the Belarus silver deposit discovery was made. The joint venture, which has been negotiated over the past years to bring in Pan American on it over this past year, and they're now a 60-40 joint venture partner. We have a large land position in this part of Mexico. Peñoles, or the Pan American Silver's ground, was in green, was a ground of interest in the whole structural story of this camp. The blue area was the original Canasil Orex joint venture. Pan American bought out Canasil, and then Pan American and Orex struck the new joint venture, which covers both properties, which will be studied as a single unit. When we made Belarus Discovery, it was a great time to be on the project. It was right at surface. You could see that first hole from sample number 1 on the property. From 1 meter down to 2 meters was the first assay. But the first 61 meters of core thickness, with a true thickness of 43 meters, ran 359 grams of silver. Right at surface, no gaussons, no indication that this was going to be such a great story. There were some old pits around the area, so there were people that knew that there was some silver there, but it was pretty much a brand new discovery, with the very first hole having been drilled in that location. But you can see the consistency, good thicknesses, good grades. Within the first year of drilling there, on 2016, we came up with a resource estimate. A resource estimate of 33 million ounces of silver. It's a distal deposit, lower temperature distal deposit, in a style of mineralization that is common in La Piteria that you see further to the east. It's 75 kilometers to the east. They have a very similar mineralization in one of their zones, but it's not the end of the story. This is only the start. The shape of it here is as a tabular deposit averaging about 30 meters thick, and its stripping ratio would be really amenable to an open pit configuration. This is what the rock looks like. Sometimes you'll get high grades, you get over the kilogram if it has the little stringers like the lower left picture, but an average piece of rock there looks like a piece of concrete. It doesn't have the bright orange gaussons that you see in many deposits. Is because there's no pyrite in this part of the project to weather out into a reddish gosson. So that's what the rock looks like, but that's 254 grams of silver in that upper left picture, and it looks like a hunk of concrete. Having said that, we discovered that there were some metallurgical issues, and Pan American will be helping us on that end as well. We've got the silver there. We see that the recovery rates depend on the head grade and the proportion of silver-bearing oxides and native silver and silver halides. Very similar styles that you saw with La Piteria. As you move to the northwest, you move into more sulfides, and those are more amenable to predictable metallurgical recoveries. So it's not an insurmountable problem, but it's something that Pan American will be helping us with, and we see the parallels to La Piteria and Sandra project in those styles of mineralization. On this picture here, where it's taken from, you're looking towards that northwest. The foreground where the pickup truck is part of the Belarus deposit. The hillside in the distance there is the reddish hill as you're moving towards where more sulfides occur, and that's where the Pan American ground was. That is now all one single ground, so we're moving in that direction with our exploration. A little artisanal mine was showing in the lower left called San Francisco, and there they hand-cobbed the high-grade material, threw them into sacks, and shipped it directly to the smelter in Torreon. So they were mining sulfide-bearing silver from vein systems that were at the San Francisco mine. We have lots of room in our core shed. We're all set for that. That core shed is right in the little village that appears in this photograph. And so we're set for the next exploration. Field crews are now mapping towards that northwest direction to combine the two projects. As we move a little further to the southeast, we get into Kineto Gold Silver Project. It's the joint venture that we have with Fresnillo. It's a window that we see through the upper volcanic succession in this area and into the lower volcanics and the older rocks that are there. About 17 kilometers by 4 kilometers wide is this erosionary window, and within it, over 50 veins have been documented in this old mining camp. So here, the veins often stick out on surface. These veins were mined, several of them were mined as far back as 450 years ago during the time of the conquistadors, but they only mined those ones down to about the water table. It's where technology allowed them to go. But we know that the mineralization heads below that. We can see that from the drilling that we've done. And we've drilled over 100 drill holes on this project on about 12 of the veins so far. Fresnillo has spent over $6 million to earn their 55% interest on the project. Here's an example of some of the drill intercepts, a variety of classic veins of the low to intermediate style epithermal vein systems. And you can see that it is a gold and silver system. There are base metal credits as you go deeper into various veins. In this location, I'd like to point out Impulsora and Santo Nino, because these next two slides will show you a little bit of that. The Kineto projects Loma Verde and Impulsora look similar to this kind in the upper portions of them. And there's gold and silver. Loma Verde was never mined. There's some old trenches and things and a small shaft, but it was never mined at the time. But we see that there's definitely good mineralization in the oxide zones. You get below that, you get into sulfides. And sulfide mineralization like this, the geologist in me, my heart, I see this, I can see that we're in the boiling zone of mineralization here. And high grades can be hit, but there is also base metal credits. So it fits the model very well in this location. This is the deepest hole that we have on the Santo Nino property. And it's just beautiful, beautiful mineralization. I mentioned that there was a property in Canada that we have in the portfolio as well. It has about 64,000 ounces of gold and a nice plum, not too far from Castlegar. And so we're looking to see how that fits in with our corporate needs. We may be joint venturing that one out. So in summary, 3 projects in 2 strong mining jurisdictions, JV partnerships with 2 of the major silver producers in the world. We've had a long presence in Durango State. We've had an office there for over 15 years. A strong technical team where we've made discoveries before and we've unlocked value for shareholders. So many of them have made money with us. And a management team that we have been able to deliver results on projects that we've got. There is definitely more to be discovered. And I'd like to thank you. Here's the contact information and open for questions.
Thanks for that, Ben. That was a great overview. Maybe you can speak to some of the sort of majors in the area, Pan American and Fresnillo, and what you think that their thought process is on junior mining companies and what they're going to be doing going forward.
Good question, Seb. But I wouldn't leave out of that list the intermediate producers as well, because there are quite a few of them in the area. Depending on what size of discovery you make and how it fits within the corporate needs of a company, then you can package that project to entice that particular company. When we're talking about the largest silver mining companies in the world, their thresholds tend to be large as well. But within this belt, Sandra is not very far away from Guanaceví. Guanaceví is where Endeavour Silver is located. And so you have other small intermediate companies like Great Panther. They're in this silver trend as well. Discoveries are still being made down in Zacatecas State in this belt is where Mag Silver is. Mag Silver had that Juanicipio project, has that with Fresnillo. So they're Fresnillo's other joint venture project that they have. So the activity in the area the opportunities for discovery are great. Ross Beatty mentioned La Colorada in Mexico earlier in his talk, and below La Colorada's silver system, they hit skarn mineralization that was silver-rich base metals. And he figures that it'll go on for generations on that mining operation. So if you're looking for giants, go to giant country.
No, for sure, and I mean it's definitely something to behold. Sort of what yourself and the Bulkera Group have been able to do with silver projects over the years, and you guys are really silver bugs. Maybe you can chat a little bit on where you personally think that the silver price should be or is going to be, and what that would mean for a company like Orex.
I'm very bullish on silver, and we do gold as well. Like Barsele in Sweden is a gold project, but gold and silver are I think we're into a really strong bull market for those. The gold side of it is certainly in the currency, the hedge for inflations, all of the reasons that people buy into gold. Silver is a little bit different in that half of it is treated like money, and the other half is an industrial mineral that it's should be treated like a base metal. In that sense that it's great conductor, it's used in so many different applications, whether it's medical research or electronics. And its biggest opening, I think, is going to be in solar panels as the expansion of our green economy continues, and that the solar panel technology has been improving over the past decade. The strongest growth rate of silver as an industrial use is in the photovoltaic cells of solar panels. That is a growth field. And when you want to make investments on a commodity basis, you look for where you see the best growth coming. And so that's the way I see silver, that it has an upside that I could easily see it going well over the $30 and more.
That's also also great, and I know that there's other investors out there that are very sort of bullish and positive on silver. One in particular is Eric Sprott, who recently put money into Orex. So congratulations on that transaction. It's always nice to see him putting into companies that we like and stand behind as well. But just to that end, as far as silver companies are concerned, I mean, we have about 2 minutes left here, but when COVID hit, we actually started seeing a flurry of investors coming into the silver market. Gold had already moved, and silver was sort of lagging a little bit behind it, and we started to move as well. We saw a lot of money coming into the silver space due to COVID. So, in a sense, for the silver companies, you can say that COVID maybe was a little bit of a positive in a sense. But what are you seeing down in Mexico on the COVID front? And what are you guys doing to combat that? Just as a last question before we call it a session.
Yeah, it's good. One of the things that we are doing is we have a long established relationship with key Mexican geologists. And one of the geologists whom we've hired to work with our project right now is Dante Aguilar, who was with Goldcorp. And Louis Min has a long history in the Durango area. His team are certainly top notch. I've known them for over about 17 years. I've known Dante, and top notch geologist. So he's working with us. It is a matter of maintaining protocols, maintaining social distancing, and still working with the local community. But making sure that we keep the local communities safe in various locations. So we do normally rent a house in a nearby village and maintain a level of control on that stage. So it is a matter of just being careful, of having a plan and working it out carefully.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much, Ben, for your time. If anybody is interested in learning more about the Orex story, please don't hesitate to reach out to your Red Cloud rep or visit the company's website. Ben is always available if need be. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the next session.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.